and 6-time Langley Modified champ Sean Beluzzo, the defending Modified Madness winner, brings a 7-race winning streak into tonight's showdown.
Actually, this is my first time here. We run South Boston a few years ago, but we're out here to have a lot of fun. Just want to thank all the fans for coming out tonight, and hopefully we'll put on a show. I'm a little bit of an invader, I guess you could say, coming in here to all these local boys, but they've obviously know their way around the racetrack here, and we're going to have a lot of fun, and hopefully we'll be there at the end.
Sean, pretty good qualifying place. What's the game plan for tonight?
Well, general consensus seems to be see how slow you can go for the first 50 laps.
Yeah, but I know how that is.
Yeah, I know. We'll see what happens.
You going to try to hang near the front if the pace is a little quicker than you want to go, or are you going to fall to the rear?
You think I'm going to tell you? Then all the other guys will know. I got to figure it out.
All right, we'll be watching the 48 tonight. Robbie, on the point, I guess you're going to be the man setting the pace. Figured out, if that's going to be fast, slow, medium, what?
I don't know. I think it might be a bigger race to the end, to the rear of the field, first part of this race. Everybody kind of feels what they got, and I don't know. We'll see. If we're able to, we'll go out and lead the whole thing. If not, we'll fall in line and wait for the last 40.
You think the cold track conditions is going to play a factor?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little slick first part of the race. So, if there's anything going to happen, it's probably going to happen in the first 5 laps. So,
all right, good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Fans, are you ready? Drivers, start your engines. 100 laps, let's rock and roll.
This class to me looks like it's all about getting off the corner and getting those rear tires hooked up with all that horsepower. So the guy that can do that the best is probably going to win this race at the end of the night.
And I know you guys get really low on the racetrack too, since they've put that new asphalt down on the bottom, and you think a lot of these guys are going to be using that?
You better use that. I mean, the guys that know how to do it, I mean, they've opened that up, so you better get down on that flat if you're going to win.
So I guess the racing in the previous years have changed, since they put that down there too.
Oh, it's changed the track totally.
Robbie Babb, Anthony Kincaid, Sean Beluzzo, Mike Rudy, Todd Van Gilder, your top 5. Coming to the green flag being waved by Kimmy Stevens. We're underway at Langley Speedway. One car off to a slow start. That is Robbie Babb. They're already wadding them up in turn number 1.
It looked like Robbie Babb might have missed a gear or something on that start, or might have broke something.
Got one up against the wall in turn 1. Caution flag is out. Robbie Babb started the race up front. 84. Sean Hopkins in the wall in turn 1 at the start of the race. And Robbie Babb has come to a stop over there in the bottom of turn number 3.
Michael, I talked to the 44 crew. He said the shifter broke into 44. They're going to come down, try to make repairs to it. They'll have to go to the rear, but they should be able to get it repaired, or at least get it in 4th gear. And he'll just be a little lag back a little bit on the start. Got the 84 coming in here. He's done hit the wall. Got heavy right front damage to it. I would say his night has been, he's got suspension parts and everything all ripped off. Didn't see what happened, just seen him up against the wall over there. Unfortunate for him.
They will line them up side by
Sean,
side.
unfortunate on first lap. What happened?
I seen him getting across up in front of me, and I tried to check up, and when I did, the car just slid in the marbles, and there wasn't nothing I could do after that.
Man, it was unfortunate. It looked like you were pretty good during practice today. Just, had a good race car, and really sad to see you out on first lap.
Yeah, we worked real hard. I think we might have had something for the race. We were kind of off on practice, but we made a bunch of changes. I have to thank all my guys here for coming and helping me. If it weren't for them, I wouldn't be here at all. So I like to thank them more than anything.
All right, back up to you, Michael.
Looks like Robbie Babb's going to go ahead and stay in the back. He might have some shifting problems. So, and then instead of causing maybe another wreck, if it does still have a shifting problem, he's doing the right thing, staying in the back, and maybe he can work his way back through this field.
He does have a fast car qualified on the pole today. The problem with shifting when they went green relegated him back down to the rear of the field. Well, we've got 2 guys that know how to get some wins out here, Anthony Kincaid and Sean Beluzzo up front. Sean Beluzzo with 11 victories this year. Mike Rudy also, he's got 4 wins and 1 for Robbie Babb. And here we go. Green flag is back out. We're underway for the Modified Madness. $5,000 to win. Anthony Kincaid on the high side, Beluzzo down low. Now they say the one's got to give it back to Beluzzo because he beat the leader to the start-finish line. And I don't think that's going to happen. It's kind of hard to do when you got somebody on your back bumper to give it back. And now Mike Rudy goes to the outside of Anthony Kincaid. Oh, and a little contact here with Matt Sly. He spins around, gets slammed into. Another car gets into him. Jimmy Humlett in the 11. And it looks like 5 cars involved in this wreck between 1 and 2. 2 laps into it. That started when the 33 spun around right there in the middle of 1 and 2.
Yeah, sometimes it's when they say we'll just give that spot back, it's you got people racing all around you that didn't get that memo, and it's
exactly.
Sometimes it's harder to do it.
Hasn't had the success in the late model division that he has wanted to have, but has definitely got these modifieds figured out.
Well, Sean was always like with his motors, he couldn't always afford the most high dollar motor, the most expensive motor. With this engine rule in this class, open rule, it kind of makes the motors a little bit cheaper. So I think it plays right into his hand. He's a very talented driver, and he's very talented at setting these cars up.
All right, some of those guys using the cone rule going to the outside. The 4 of Todd Van Gilder. He'll be on the outside of Mike Rudy's number 8, the 88. Also, Cale Gale and Michael Johnson. Also, we got the 87, Darrell Vance, 44, Robbie Babb, and Matt Sly in 33. All using the St. Leo University cone rule. Mike Rudy takes over. He gets the lead. Cale Gale on the outside of Anthony Kincaid now between 3 and 4. They need to get a rhythm. Got some good side-by-side racing back here with Casey White on the inside, following the tire tracks of the 48 of Beluzzo, who's making the move on Anthony Kincaid now. And Cale Gale coming up to the inside of Todd Van Gilder. And that's got to be a little scary on the outside when you come out of turn number 2 like that and guys are drifting up. A little puff of smoke coming out of the back end of Matt Sly in 33. Get a little tight up front. Cale Gale dives it on the inside of Todd Van Gilder. Beluzzo's going to come with him in 48. Michael Johnson gets the move on Casey Wyatt. Now it's Darrell Vance, the 87, down on the inside of Casey, followed by the 77 of Hunter Slayton. In the 44, Robbie Babb trying to work his way back up after he qualified on the pole but missed a shift at the beginning of the race.
This 88 car, Cale Gale, he looks like he's really fast to me. He's drove right up to the lead, and I think him and Beluzzo might put on a great show here tonight.
Yep. He's ahead of one of the best out here. Sean Beluzzo in second, Mike Rudy in third, and Todd Van Gilder, the 4 is fourth. Cale Gale unable to get away from Beluzzo. About a car length and a half separate those two. Then it's about 3 car lengths back from Beluzzo to Mike Rudy. '77 on the inside, Hunter Slayton to the inside of the 1 of Anthony Kincaid. Some of these guys racing at Langley just for that $5,000 purse. 10 laps into a 100-lap event. There's the 87 making a move to the inside, one of the slower cars, the 49, and that is Todd Weitzel. Things seem to be settling down just a little bit, except up front with the 88 and 48, Cale Gale and Sean Beluzzo. Cale Gale leading this race, who races in the Camping World Truck Series. He's 12th in the Truck Series points. He's got 1 pole in that division, 2 top 5s, 6 top 10s, and 18 starts in the Camping World Truck Series. Here he is, racing the modified at Langley and leading the field. Beluzzo not letting him get away, Greg.
No, it looks like right now they're just cruising right now. I don't see him sliding off the corner a lot. I think Sean knows he's got a ride. He's going to save his rear tires. And looks like the 88 car, he's not pushing it too hard for what they've got. So I think you're going to see him really turn it loose at about 20 to go.
Got a battle shaping up for the lead. Also, Hunter Slayton closing in on Todd Van Gilder for that position. They ride behind Mike Rudy's number 8 in 3rd spot. Here goes Beluzzo, looking on the inside, makes the pass on Cale Gale. Gave it up pretty easily.
Yeah, I think right now these guys are just feeling each other out. And, you know, Cale might ride back there and see what Sean's car looks like to him. And there's a long race to go. So with these 8-inch tires, you really have to save them with all this motor. So I think they're just cruising right now.
They better be careful. Here comes Mike Rudy, number 8, as Cale Gale goes back by Beluzzo.
Doesn't seem like anybody wants to lead.
You're right. They don't want to set the pace. But as they do that, look at all the guys closing in. Cale Gale, Sean Beluzzo, Mike Rudy, Todd Van Gilder, Hunter Slayton, and now Darrell Vance is 87. Todd Weitzel, the number 49, showing some good sportsmanship, letting these guys race on the inside. Top 6, nose to tail, Greg.
Yeah, and like I said, sometimes it's hard to tell when you're the leader. Are you riding too fast? I mean, are you driving too hard, or could you back it off more? And I think right there what you were seeing was both drivers trying to feel each other out of how slow can we make this pace so we can have the best cars we can have at the end.
77 makes the move on Todd Van Gilder. Todd dropping back to 5th. Now Darrell Vance closing in. Greg, I know you haven't raced any of these cars out here, the modifieds, before at Langley, but tell us what you know about how these cars are built.
Well, I know they're stock front snouts. They're big spring cars. They've got, you know, an open engine roll, which, like I said, I think it brings the cost down quite a bit. And, you know, from everything I've seen about them, they're really cost-effective to race. They don't cost that much, but they put on a heck of a show with these little tires and these big engines. It's all about the driver and his right foot. I mean, you really, this time of this race, these guys are not even putting these things all the way to the floor, and they're just cruising around here. And late in the race, you're going to see some cars really sliding around off the corner, the guys that doesn't have it together. And the guys that do are really going to, the cream's definitely going to come to the top.
Now with these smaller tires like you talked about how many laps before they're going to start letting loose?
Well, I mean, we ran them for a little bit when we ran the late models. They were more on the sportsman rolls. And I say about lap 65, you're going to see some cars really getting sliding around. If you pushed it right now, they'd be sliding around by lap 40. But like I said, it looks like some of these guys are, the smart guys, probably have a little more in reserve. So, you know, we'll see if they've got something at the end. But you got a bunch of great drivers up front. Like I said, they're changing the lead back and forth. I don't think either one of them wants to lead right now.
Beluzzo back side by side with the 88 of Cale Gale. And Mike Rudy once again wants to get a little excitement up near the front. I think he wants to go up to your lead a little bit. What do you think? So does the 77, Hunter Slayton. The pace is picking up just slightly. Now, on your late model tires, Greg, how many laps before they start to wear off on those cars?
Well, this year, some of the races me and CE ran a lot of twin 50s, and even the 100-lap races, man, we went at it 100% the whole race. There was not much riding there. In the races you got to see with me and Mr. Falk. I felt like at least I was going hard as I could, and he said he was. So I don't know. It was you get into like the 150-lap races, you know, you really need to pace yourself for a twin 75 or a 150. But 100-lap race here with our late models, if you got a good handling car, pretty much go at it 100% all night.
Sounds like the tires that you guys race last pretty good. They're well durable tires.
They're a good tire. Hoosier makes a great tire for us, and You know, you got to have a good handling car to do that all night, to run it that hard. But if your car's really hooked up, you can go hard all night with it.
Well, I guess just like with the late models, tire pressure and the amount of tire pressure you use as opposed to the left and the right varies from car to car, which also helps you out.
Yep, and like in a race like this, a longer race for these guys, they'll start their air pressures a little lower than they normally would. You know you're going to have a lot of long green flag runs. You're going to build a little more pressure, so they might start their air pressures a pound or two lower than they typically would. So just little things you do like that to get your car to last a little bit longer.
We've got some great lead changes up here. Mike Rudy has taken it back, 77. Hunter Slayton, he's now in second. Beluzzo back to third. Cale Gale fourth. But I think they're just trying to feel each other out a little bit.
I totally believe that. I believe that, you know, especially Sean, he's driven these cars enough around this track that he knows the pace he needs to set. I think Cale Gale, he's probably figured out he's going to follow that 48 because he does know that. So I think you're going to see a great race at the end. I think it's going to get really exciting when these guys decide to turn it on.
And unlike the late models, you guys who have a lot of sheet metal on the side of your cars, these guys have the wheels sticking out, so if they make some contact, it can get nasty.
Yeah, you can get touch wheel to wheel. Sometimes it'll actually just rip the steering wheel right out of your hand.
Yeah.
And I've had it happen to me a couple times. It's not a fun experience.
Well, I can imagine. 34 laps completed. Mike Rudy leads in the 8 here at Langley Speedway as they go for $5,000. Mike Rudy of Prince George, Virginia with Lehman Brothers, United States Marines, Advance Auto Parts, and A1 Tire helping him out this season. He's got about a 5 car length advantage over the 77 of Hunter Slayton. Hunter, one of those drivers that has decided to race at Langley a few times, and he's right there in the 77 going at it tonight. Kyle Wood, another driver, the 19, has been away for a while. He's currently shown in 13th position. And Cale Gale, the guy who's up there in the 4th position from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, a regular in the Camping World Truck Series. He's got Rheem and Gale Force suspension on his automobile. Sean Beluzzo with the green dirt car. And our champion for 2012 with 11 victories so far this season. Could be 12 after tonight. Top 10, Mike Rudy, Hunter Slayton, Sean Beluzzo, Cale Gale, Todd Van Gilder in 5th. In 6th, it's Darrell Vance. 7th, Anthony Kincaid. Robbie Babb is in 8th and 44. Michael Johnson, he's in 9th in the 38. And Matt Sly in 33 and 10th. And it's Tanner Rumberg in 15. He's 11th. Kyle Wood, the 19, is 12th. Danny Harrell, our Rookie of the Year, is the 95. He's 13th. Casey Wyatt back to 14th in the 03. Curtis Hughes in the 3, and he's 15th. 16th, Scott Lawrence. Lauren Smigo, 41 to 17th. Todd Weitzel is in 18th. And Jimmy Humblett, Sean Hopkins, and Tony Fowler, those 3 drivers caught up in wrecks and out of this race. Well, look at this. A lead change again as the 77 makes his way by. The 8 of Mike Rudy. Hunter Slayton now in the lead at Langley. About 9 laps away from halfway. Casey Wyatt off the pace and going very slow now between turns 3 and 4. Something has let go on that automobile. Casey will inch his way into the pits.
Well, just looking at these lap times, Mike, anytime I can see one of these guys go to lead, they can pick it up about 0.3 of a second. So that does show me they're really riding. I saw Beluzzo just run one of the fastest laps of the race one time, and he slowed down 0.3 the very next lap. So they're still just positioning to get themselves in a position for the end of this race right now.
Looking at some of the lap times, it looks like Michael Johnson starting to pick it up a little bit, along with Robbie Babb in the 44. He's moving up. He's in 7th. Babb had the fastest car today in qualifying. Hunter Slayton, Mike Rudy, Sean Beluzzo. 5 laps away from halfway. Beluzzo back to 2nd spot. He gets by the 8 of Mike Rudy. Drivers out here getting into a rhythm now as they know that halfway's coming up. The intensity level will pick up quite a bit in the next 25 to 30 laps. Now, these guys have raced a lot of twin races just like the late models have, Greg, and you like those twin races? You like the twin 50s?
I like them. When we first started doing them, I liked them a lot. I don't know. Sometimes I've got to the point now where I would like to run just maybe a straight 150, and we can have more of this because I like the strategy of just you as a driver have to know how hard can I push it to have something at the end. I can go out here and I can lead, but I can burn my tires up. 20 laps to go, somebody that was riding past me. So I kind of like the idea of strategy, and you as a driver have to be really conscious of your throttle and that right rear tire. You'll watch the guys, probably the guy that's going to win this race will be the guy that was the most conscious of that.
I guess part of the problem with those twin races, even though they're very fun for the fans, is if you tear your car up completely during that first race, you're out for the second.
Exactly, and that's why we bring a backup car to almost every race, and Robbie Babb started it for me just about all year.
Right.
And we found out, he kept telling me every time he took it out there, he'd run 3 or 4 laps, so that car handles great. I never really tested this year because we worked so hard on our primary car. Well, the last race, we took it out in practice, and I actually think it might have been better than my primary car.
Wow.
So, it's a really good car, too, so I'm looking forward to racing that one.
And that's the one you have on display tonight.
That's the one out front.
Yeah. 52 laps completed here at Langley Speedway. Hunter Slayton in the 77 is leading. Sean Beluzzo, the 2012 champion in the modified division. Mike Rudy, he's in the 8. In third spot, Cale Gale, the 88, still hanging tough in the top 5. In fourth, Todd Van Gilder. He's been quietly up there in the top 5 all night. And in this race, he is in 5th. Darrell Vance, the 87-6. Robbie Babb all the way up to 7th. Michael Johnson, 38 is 8th. Matt Sly, 33 9th. And Tanner Rumberg in the top 10 in car 15. Great battle now shaping up between the 87 of Darrell Vance and the 4 of Todd Van Gilder for 5th. They race now between turns 3 and 4. Meanwhile, the top 3 cars right there together, 77, 48, and the 8. I think Beluzzo has got to have a smile from ear to ear. He's going back for the lead now, looking on the inside of Hunter Slayton. Beluzzo racing door to door now once again between turns 1 and 2. Starting to turn it up a little bit, makes the pass.
Yeah, they're definitely starting to pick it up a little bit. I saw the lap times picked up about 2/10 the last few laps. And, I hope they're not getting too racing too early. And, I don't know what's going on with the 88. He might be back there just riding, knowing we're going to get a break. I'm not sure.
No close call with one of the lap cars over there between 3 and 4. 41 Warren Smigo cut down just in front of the 87 of Darrell Vance, but Darrell was able to get by. So Beluzzo is out front. How long will he stay there? Cale Gale falling back quite a bit now. And Mike Rudy, 3rd spot. He's got about 6 to 7 car lengths over Cale Gale. And there's the caution flag. And I did not see the reason for the caution. Was it debris, or did you get a chance to hear, Greg?
No, I sure did.
All right, we've got 60 laps into it, 40 laps to go. All right, there we go. We've got the pace truck back out. And once again, it's lap 60 of 100.
Manufactured and tested in the USA. Made and supported by knowledgeable product engineers and All right, work may begin. Time has started. 10 minutes.
All right, they got 10 minutes to work on the cars. And what will they do? Will they adjust any of the tire pressures?
There's several things you can do. I see that a lot of them are going to go down there and put a little fuel in the car. They might put a little bite in the car if they need be, and some of them probably let some air pressure out of the right rear tire if they're already sliding it, or at least check them. So
Michael, down here with Hunter Slayton, driver of the 77 car. Looked like it was a little dicey there for a little while, then y'all kind of just fell into a groove. What you playing for the second half?
The first half of the race, we were just kind of riding along, kind of coasting through the turns, so I guess the second half will just kind of be exciting for everybody in the stands.
How's your car?
I never really pushed it too hard, so I can't really tell you. We were kind of coasting through the turns as much as possible to save the tires for the second half, so we'll see what we have for the next 40 laps.
All right, ought to be pretty good.
Yeah, we got a good car. We just been riding. I get out to the lead, try to slow the pace up a little bit, and I let the 77 and 48 go there and dropped off about 0.3 of a second. And we're probably going to start off here pretty good and try to get a little bit into this 40, and then we'll take off.
I see you wiping your shoe off. You got a leak in there?
I think I got a little brake fluid leaking on my foot, but we'll be all right. $5,000, I ain't going to let it bother me.
Kale, looked like you raced a little bit, then you kind of fell back and ride and raced a little bit and ride a little bit, and you got anything for him?
I don't know. We'll see here. We've been trying to save our tires here a little bit. These guys definitely know the way around the racetrack and know how to conserve their tires too. So we'll see here the last 40 laps. I feel like our car's pretty good and put on a show for the fans here at the end.
Got Daryl Vance here. Daryl's having a good run here. Daryl, do you feel that you run the crate motor? I think the only car out here with this crate motor. Do you feel there might be a little advantage on this long race? I know it's a little easier on the tires.
Well, I hope so. That is the plan with going to the crate motor. It hadn't always worked out like we hoped, but I got to be honest with you, I was pushing it pretty hard. I think those guys might be conserving, so the last 40 laps ought to be interesting.
So you're saying you had to push the car a little harder than you wanted to?
I did, but the beauty of having a crate motor, it doesn't fall off as much, so we'll have to see in that last 40 laps how much we got left.
Todd, how's your car?
Not bad. I hope I saved enough rubber for the next 40.
Did you have to push it a little harder than you wanted at times, or?
It wasn't too bad. Mostly just trying to drive it straight. Now we'll go see who has something left.
Making my way back here, got Michael Johnson. Michael, how's your car?
Yeah, the car's really good. I was just riding the whole first 60 laps.
All right, what's the game plan for the second half? Turn the wick up right away, or are you going to ride any further?
I don't know. I'm probably just going to see how crazy everything gets up there first and just make my decision by that.
I could have swore we had a bag race tonight in that Super Street race.
Looked like it.
Don't feel bad. I'm 50. With a 2.5-year-old and another boy on the way in December. So that's going to keep me young.
I got a 2-year-old too, so I know how you feel.
It's going to keep me young or kill me.
That's right. I think the latter is probably what's doing it.
Man, it's so much fun though. It really is.
Oh yeah.
To see the world in their eyes, man. All right, we are just about set to get back underway. Cone rule is coming into effect. Several drivers have chosen to use the cone. And that includes Mike Rudy, who's going to be on the outside of Sean Beluzzo. 77, Hunter Slayton down low. Cale Gale, he's on the inside, back about 3 spots, and we're back underway as the green flag is out. Almost making it 3 wide at the exit of turn 2. Cale Gale gets out of it, though. Smart move as they race side by side for the lead and for 3rd spot. 3 wide again down the front straightaway, a little bit further back. And up front, and I think they're not going to wait until the last 20, Greg.
A couple of them aren't. I mean, I still see the 88. Doesn't look like he's pushing this year, but the front 2 are really racing hard to get lined up there. I don't know. Let's see what happens.
And Wayne was saying the 88 had the freshest tires, it looked like. And once again, we got a battle for the lead as Rudy goes to the inside of Beluzzo for the lead.
We'll see what these guys can do. They're starting to push it hard pretty early, so, they know what they're doing, so let's see what happens.
77, Hunter Slayton down on the inside of Todd Van Gilder. Todd takes over the 3rd spot, closes up on Beluzzo and Mike Rudy.
That right there was the fastest lap of the race set by the leader. He's picked it up about 3/10 to 4/10 from what he was just running.
And Sean Beluzzo and Todd Van Gilder not that far off either. Kincaid pushing the issue a little bit. Anthony Kincaid up to 11th. Side by side on the back straightaway. There's the 19, Tanner Rumberg. Or that's Kyle Wood, I should say. Sorry about that. The 87. Darrell Vance on the outside, and he makes the pass.
Sometimes these tires, after they cool down for that 10 minutes, they don't come back quite as good as they were when they were hot. I mean, when these things go through a heat cycle, sometimes it's really tough on a tire. So you might see some of these guys struggling here just shortly.
And you're talking about the heat cycle. I guess that's where the tire gets really hot, then cools off, and it gets hot again. But I guess on that second run, like you said, it just takes a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's what we found is the most damaging on tires is actually once you get them hot, if you keep them hot, they'll last a pretty long time. But when you cool them all the way back down to ambient temperature and heat them up, it does something to the rubber compound. It really makes them harder and a lot slicker and actually wears them out very fast.
There's a lot of science that goes into these tires, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and most of it we just learn by trial and error. You know,
yeah,
we're a bunch of we don't have many engineers on our team, but you talk to a lot of people and just do it by experience.
Matt Sly on the outside of Anthony Kincaid now at the exit of turn number 4. Matt Sly is starting to step it up a little bit, along with Kincaid, who's now up to 10th. Oh, the 19, Kyle Wood, just about looped it on the back straightaway. Got down off the racetrack into the dirt. Car kicked sideways, but he maintains. And Kincaid now goes to the outside behind Darrell Vance in the 87. $5,000 up for grabs. And about 28 laps to go. Anthony Kincaid again looking on the inside of Kyle Wood in the 19. That is for 9th position. So Kincaid, if he gets a caution, he might have a little bit to get up there near the front, but the car looks all sorts of loose.
Yeah, it looks like his right rear might be starting to fade on him.
He is making the pass, though, on Kyle Wood. Kincaid qualified on the outside front row. He has had to work his way back up through the field, although Kyle Wood got into him a little bit there at the exit of 4. Leader of this race, Mike Rudy in the 8th, but not by much over Sean Beluzzo. It's about a car length to separate those two. Then back to the 4 of Todd Van Gilder. It's about 5 car length separation. And about 2 back to the 77 of Hunter Slayton. He's followed very closely by Cale Gale in 5th. And Michael Johnson, Robbie Babb, Darrell Vance, Anthony Kincaid, Kyle Wood, all in the top 10. Well, I think Cale Gale starting to pick up the pace a little bit.
I was about to say, if you're somebody like Cale Gale, I think now's about the time you need to start moving up through there if you can. So we'll see. You need to start getting yourself in position because if you wait too long, you're just not going to have time to get up there.
Michael Johnson also ran his fastest lap. That was about 5 laps ago. So he's starting to step it up a little bit as Cale Gale makes the move on the inside of Hunter Slayton for a top 4 position. If he gets him, Michael Johnson's going to try and follow him through down on the inside. The cream is starting to rise to the top. Mike Rudy leads Sean Beluzzo. Beluzzo might be riding just a little bit, but not by much.
Sean's sitting in a great spot right there if he is riding. He doesn't have to worry about closing in that gap like a couple of guys behind him, and he can just ride there if he's got a good enough car. And look like he might try to make the move kind of late in this race.
And Todd Van Gilder is having one of his best races of the season. This is a good one to have it at. Here goes Beluzzo peeking on the inside of Mike Rudy.
I think Sean has something left, and he's just being patient right now.
The 83, Scott Lawrence showing good sportsmanship, getting out of the way of the faster cars. And man, those lap cars can really mess you up if they're not nice.
Yeah, and you know, we're used to cars going to the inside. And, you know, sometimes it's kind of funny when somebody moves up because you don't know if they're going to cut back down on you. But typically, I like to pass lap cars on the outside. But you know, if he's willing to move up, it makes it okay for us.
Right. Here goes Beluzzo again. He's starting to test the water a little bit on Mike Rudy for the lead with 83 laps up in lights. And Cale Gale about to make the move on Todd Van Gilder for that third spot. He's coming.
Yeah, it looks like Rudy's got a great car. He's right on the bottom of the racetrack. Sean got down there and spun his tires a little bit. He's going to have to regroup here if he's going to have anything for him.
Beluzzo now about 3.5 car lengths behind Mike Rudy, who's got the lead, looking for $5,000 in about 15 laps. Oh, and a spin right in front of the leader. And the caution flag is out. This is going to tighten things up as the 95 of Danny Harrell makes the spin at the exit of turn number 2. This is going to change things a little bit, huh, Greg?
Oh, it's going to change it big time. But that 8 car looked like to me like he's been saving more than I thought, because Sean tried to make a move on him one time and spun his tires and fell back. But Sean being able to cool his tires down might be a big advantage for him to get a second shot at it.
Well, the 4, not shy, Todd Van Gilder, 88. Cale Gale's going to stay where he is. Michael Johnson's going to take the cone on the outside, the St. Leo cone. 87, Darrell Vance. Any other takers? How about Matt Sly in 33? And the Tanner Rumberg, no, the Kyle Wood car. That's Kyle Wood, isn't it? 15, Tanner Rumberg. I get those two confused. The 19 and the 15. That is Tanner Rumberg, by the way. Kyle is down on the inside in the 19. What's my name? 85 laps completed, 15 laps to go. They're not going to hold back anything now. Here we go. Green flag is out. Mike Rudy with a good clean start ahead of Beluzzo. And one spin and a crash. It's the Michael Johnson car. He gets his... Oh, man, he got spun. And we have 6 cars involved. Matt Sly, Tanner Rumberg's involved, the 95, Danny Harrell, Michael Johnson, 38. Looks like Robbie Babb, our pole sitter, is involved, along with the 83. He's just slowing down to get through all this. So a little bit of cleanup that will have to take place between turns 1 and 2. That's why they play it to the end. Well, we're about to get back underway, and we have the 4, Todd Van Gilder, going to the outside. Darrell Vance is going to give it a shot. And also Anthony Kincaid. Look out, Kincaid ain't done yet. Danny Harrell up there, the 95. He was involved in that last wreck. So was the 15, Tanner Rumberg, and 33, Matt Sly. Was as KP used to say, lights out at the reptile house. Here we go. 15 laps to go. Green flag in the air, Langley Speedway, and once again, Mike Rudy leads the field down. What's going to happen this time between 1 and 2? Nothing. That's good. They keep it going.
That 4 car's got a spot to slide down right there. See how it worked out for him.
Yep, but here goes Beluzzo. He's sideways down the front straightaway. Todd Van Gilder. And there's the 88 Cale Gale racing with the champion, Sean Beluzzo, on the inside for the 3rd spot.
He was all the way in the grass coming off of turn 2, and there's another lane down there now, so he went really low.
He makes the pass, Greg. He's got 3rd spot, headed for 2nd. Cracking the whip. And closing in on Todd Van Gilder for that 2nd position, about 2 to 3 to 4 car lengths now down the straightaway.
I'm telling you, that 8 car is fast, though. He's holding his own for sure.
Now, between first and third spot, if you're listening to this on the internet, there is about 10 car lengths that separate those guys. But in between, you got the Ford, Todd Van Gilder. About 5 to 6 car lengths back behind the leader, Mike Rudy. Cale Gale trying to close in, so is Beluzzo, but time is running out. 10 laps to go. And again, you see Anthony Kincaid, he's dirt tracking it every time he comes out of the turns.
That right rear is shot on that car.
He did have his dirt car out here earlier tonight, but looks like he's driving a dirt car the way that thing is handling.
Yeah, good thing he's got dirt track experience because he's definitely using it right now.
And he's got cars to his outside. Tanner Rumberg's got to be a little nervous seeing the back end of that car kick out towards him. Well, it's been a great modified race. $5,000 up for grabs and 8 laps left in this race.
I think that 8 car, Mike Rudy, I think he really saved his car that first half. And he just, his car's coming straight off the corner. He's getting a lot of grip, and a lot of these people now are starting to slide around. You can see him fading back.
And that's got to be a comfortable feeling knowing that the car that's right behind you in second spot is 10 to a dozen cars back.
It's the best feeling in the world. I can tell you that.
Especially knowing you're going to win a whole bunch of money.
Now's when you start hearing things rattling.
Oh, yeah.
You think a tire's going flat, things start vibrating. That's what you start thinking about now.
He's pulling away, Greg. And I don't see the 88 closing in on the 4 or Beluzzo doing anything with the 88 for third spot.
Like I said, I think that Mike just saved his tires and had tire control. And these guys went to maybe raced a little too hard too early, and now when it's time to go, they can't go anymore.
Mike Rudy leads Todd Van Gilder, Cale Gale, Sean Beluzzo, and Darrell Vance in the top 5. Tanner Rumberg, 6th. 7th is Kyle Wood. 8th, Michael Johnson. 9th, Danny Harrell. Anthony Kincaid in 10th. And Curtis Hughes, Matt Sly, Robbie Babb, Scott Lawrence, Warren Smigo, Todd Weitzel, Hunter Slayton, Casey Wyatt out of the event, along with Jimmy Hubbard, Sean Hopkins, Tony Fowler. Some lap traffic coming into play in just a second here for Mike Rudy. Dives on the inside of the 83 of Scott Lawrence. Closing in on the pole sitter, Robbie Babb. Final lap of the race. Mike Rudy needs to be very careful, doesn't he, Greg?
I think I would coast it around here. That's about as many lap cards you need to pass and just pick up this W.
All right, here it is. Final lap of the event. Checkered flag is in the windshield of Mike Rudy, who wins $5,000. Mike Rudy wins. Todd Van Gilder, another solid run tonight. Todd in second position. Cale Gale, he finishes in third spot. His first race in the modified at Langley Speedway. Sean Beluzzo finishes 4th, our champion. And at the end, he burns him across the line. Anthony Kincaid.
He put on a show, that's for sure.
He's still smoking the tires.
I think he's having fun.
He is. Why not? Mike Rudy wins. Todd Van Gilder, Cale Gale, Sean Beluzzo, Darrell Vance in the top 5. Tanner Rumberg with a good run, 6th. Kyle Wood, 7th. Michael Johnson, 8th. Danny Harrell, 9th. Curtis Hughes in the top 10. Matt Sly finishes in 11th. Anthony Kincaid, 12th. Robbie Babb, 13th. Then Scott Lawrence, Warren Smigo, Todd Weitzel, Hunter Slayton, Casey Wyatt, Jimmy Hublett, Sean Hopkins, and Tony Fowler in 21st. We'll have the winning interview and a big check presentation for the Racing for Hope Foundation Modified Madness 100 lapper here at Langley Speedway. And that is next weekend, next Saturday here at Langley Speedway. Tickets once again $10, military and seniors 8, kids 6 to 12 5, and kids 5 and under free next Saturday at Langley. Let's take you down trackside.
Oh, I know what you're going to do. Okay, let's stand back here just for a second. Ladies and gentlemen, the second annual Modified Madness. Here's your winner, Mike Rudy. It's always good to get a hug there and a kiss. Well, I'm not going to hug or kiss you, but we do have something for you here. We'll give you in a moment. Take us through that last caution. And, I mean, it seemed like you were saving everything for those last 12. They could not catch you. Great run.
Well, it all started with saving at the first 60. But I'm used to running 100-lap races. We used to run the modified at Southside every week, 100 laps, and that helped me out here tonight. And when Bubba told me with 15 to go, give it all you got, and I gave it all, and he said, man, you're pulling away by straightaway. I said, I'm giving it all I got. So congratulations to all my crew for helping me. Without them, this wouldn't be possible. I'd like to thank my cousin, Chris Hopkins. He first set this car up years ago when we first built it, and all of them for helping me. My sponsors, the Marines, Lehman Brothers Contracting, Race for Hope Foundation for having the race tonight, the Mad Deal. Just don't know what to say.
How cool is it to have and you didn't know this, the Marine Honor Guard here tonight, and they were actually taking photographs with your car, have that logo on the front of your car, and win this tonight the same night. They kicked the night off. You finished it up.
Yeah, it was a great honor to them and all the people who serve in the military and everything. And I like to dedicate this to my mom and dad who passed away 2 or 3 years ago. 3 years ago, and this one's for them. I wish they could see the success that I've had lately, but I know they're looking above. So, thank you.
Well, we have our friends from Cisco here. We're going to get to this in a while, but how about a big trophy and a big congratulations to Mike Rudy, everybody, right there from Cisco and the Racing for Hope Foundation.